من هذا الخبز وتشربون من هذه الكاس تبشرون بموتي وتعترفون بقيامتي وتذكروني الآن. In the name of the Father, and the Son, the Holy Spirit, one God. Amen. One day, a monk, I think it was St. Macarius, but don't quote me on this, it might be someone else. I told you the story before, and I'm just going to start with it. Went out, and he needed an answer to a question. He was a little bit confused. And he went out and saw a boy dragging a donkey. Most probably a very poor boy who works to carry things for people with his donkey. And they would give him a little food or something at the end of the day. Someone might say to him, I have a big bag, a big suitcase, I want to bring it to someplace, I'm moving. Can I use your donkey to carry my bag? And the boy would take the bag, and at the end of the trip, the man would give him maybe some food. A loaf of bread maybe and some cheese. So St. Macarius actually asked the boy, he said, can I ask you a question? And the boy said, yes, monk, you can ask me. Monk is the person who lives in the desert or lives in a monastery for life of prayer, and they are dressed in certain way, so he understood that he's a monk. You can ask me, monk, he said. He said, I ate and I feel like I need to eat again. And the boy looked at him like wondering, what kind of question is this? Go and eat again, he said. And the monk said, I ate the second time. I still feel like I need to eat again. He said, eat again. It's okay. And the monk said, I actually ate 3 times. I still feel like I need to eat. And he looked at him, monk, you're not a man. You're a donkey, because my donkey doesn't stop eating. And St. Macarius went happy. He heard an answer. He said to himself, that's true. If I keep feeling like I want to eat all the time, I'm not a human being. I might be as well an animal who loves food. Today I want to talk to you about orthodoxy. To be an Orthodox. Are you Orthodox? I think we are all Orthodox, including Miss Jenny here. She is Orthodox. Orthodox does not mean to be belonging to the Orthodox Church. It means they're following the truth, the middle way, the truth. And the truth is between the 2 extremes. What do I mean by 2 extremes, Abuna? I know. Of course, kindergarten looking at me and say, what you're talking about. Is this English? So, orthodoxy is the middle way between too much on one side and too little on one side. When you go too much, you're not Orthodox. When you go too little, you're not Orthodox. When you are exactly in the middle, you are Orthodox. So sometimes, and we have to think about this, as human beings, why do we eat? Let's start with this example. Why do you really eat? You and I eat. As humans, we eat so that we nourish our body, so our body does not get sick. By the way, if you don't eat enough, you might have a lot of sicknesses. So for example, if I don't get enough vitamin D in my food and go out in the sun, my bones will be thin and I would lose my teeth. They will fall. If I don't eat enough vitamin C, which you can find in oranges and lemons, you would actually start to bleed. I'll tell you a story. When people went to, early on, there were no airplanes, the English and the French were competing. Who would reach the North Pole first? The British cared so much about how they would look when they take a picture at the North Pole. The French didn't care an iota about how would they look when they go to the North Pole. The most important thing, they should make it. So they stuffed their ships, the British stuffed their ships with coats and suits and pants and some bags and bags of little boxes of oil to shine their buttons, their brass buttons when they go there, and they would take a picture, it would be perfect. And they didn't really think about what they're gonna eat. The French stuffed their things with food and also hunting gear. They understood you need to go there and have fresh meat and fresh food. The French made it. The British died on the way with scurvy because they had not had enough vitamin C. You cannot store vitamin C. You're gonna have to have it fresh. They didn't have any fresh food, so they actually they said they saw them on the way with bleeding from their gums and nose because they didn't have enough vitamin C. So we eat to nourish our body. If we don't get enough food in our body will get sick, and that's not good at all. But if we overeat, what happens? What happens when people overeat? I'll tell you, some people love food. They love it. They live to eat. But some people eat, most people, wise people, eat to live. Some people live to eat, and some people eat to live. Some people love their pizza and their fettuccine alfredo or whatever. They go and they eat all the day long. And what happens? What they do? They develop many problems. One of them, they get overweight, they get high cholesterol, they get heart problems, they get a lot of problems, and they die young because they love their food very much. So to be an Orthodox, to really live a life in Orthodoxy, is to eat enough to sustain your body without overdoing it, or eat little that you actually don't have enough food in your body, and it's going to cause you sickness. What else? Sleep. We should have enough sleep to have energy, because I'm going to do some work. Abuna, I go to school and my teacher requires me to be attentive, awake, to be with it, so that everything she's saying or he's saying, I understand. But imagine if I actually spend my night playing or having a game or watching at YouTube, and I'm so tired when I wake up that I can actually function. I had not had enough sleep. Is that orthodoxy? That's not. You overdone it with wakefulness. Let me tell you something, I think the older ones will understand me more. We have in medicine, we did to have in medicine, something called sleep debt. Sleep debt, D-A-B-T. What's sleep debt? They tell you this, let us think about it. How many hours we sleep in 24 hours? How many hours? 8, right? How many hours in a day? 24. So what's 8 to 24? A third. So you get 16 hours of wakefulness, 8 hours of sleep. So if you count it, it will be for 2 hours of wakefulness, you need to have 1 hour of sleep. Think about it as charging your phone. If you use your phone the whole day, you might end up the battery is dead. So you need to charge it. How long does it charge until it reaches 100%? This is your sleep. So if you are going to recharge, you need to sleep. So you need to sleep 8 hours. Wait a second now. If I take from my sleep 2 hours, let's say I sleep at 10 a.m., at 10 p.m., I wake up at 6 a.m. So how many hours are that? 10 to 6. That's how many hours? 8 hours of sleep. Perfect. Very good. Let's say I decided today to sleep at midnight, at 12. How many hours I slept? 6 hours only. I took 2 hours from my sleep. I give them to my awake time. So how many hours I was awake? And instead of 16 now, I am 18 hours. 18 hours of wakefulness, 6 hours of sleep. They tell you, for you to go back and pay your charge, to pay your debt, you have to sleep not only 2 hours. You're not only 2 hours, because you took 2 hours from sleep. You need to give them back, but also you added 2 hours of wakefulness. You need one more hour for being awake for 1 hour. So for 2 hours. So being awake for 2 hours, you need to sleep 1 hour. Being lacking sleep for 2 hours, you lost 2 hours. So 1 plus 2, 3. So when you really compensate for that night, you need not 2 hours, you need 3 hours. That's called sleep debt. You understand what I'm saying? You not only took from your sleep, but you also added to your wakefulness. And you need to calculate for both, the wakefulness and the sleep. So what happens if I'm not asleep and I didn't have good enough sleep at night and I have a sleep debt? My body tells me, you need to be asleep. You sit in the class and you're doing this. Yeah, I see it. Don't you see it, all teachers? You definitely see it. They're sitting there and they go in like this. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Because the body is telling you, you have a sleep debt you have to pay. You cannot be awake now. You need to sleep. That's not orthodoxy. What happened? I'll tell you what happened. In our life, we need certain things. My body needs to eat, needs to sleep, and needs to be refreshed. How you refresh yourself? By enjoying some time. Playing. We all need that. We need to play, even Abuna, even the patriarch. Actually, it was said about one time about people need to refresh, about St. John, the beloved, our saint, the patron saint of the church, St. John the beloved. One time, they saw him, he was an old man, he's like a 90-some years old. He was playing with a rooster. He was playing with a rooster. Just, feeding it, running after, whatever. They couldn't run, he was not, but he was playing with it. And they said to him, we didn't expect you to do that. You're an apostle. He said, I cannot have stretch mind all the time. I have to relax a little bit. Every day we have to have a time of refreshment. But let us say that someone loves refreshment more than anything else, more than sleeping. You want to be refreshed 100% of the time. What happens? They kill themselves because, I'll tell you, when people want to entertain themselves in front of the YouTube and they actually looking at the YouTube or are playing a game or chatting or whatever, they lose rest. So the balance actually is tipped. You're not resting enough. So what happens to the body? It gets sick. People who do it with entertainment, especially the digital screens, they are not doing well in anything else. They get anxious, they get tense, they get tired, they perform bad on their schooling, and everything else is broken. So you overdo it in one thing, what happens to the other things? It gets ruined. So to be an Orthodox, you have to really manage your life so that everything takes its place. And don't overdo something. What happens when you oversleep? Anybody knows? Have you ever experienced oversleep? I've experienced oversleep. You sleep more than what you need to do. What happens? How do you feel when you wake up? Yes?
I feel like I'm tired and I do not want to get up.
Exactly. You feel tired, that's one thing. Yes, Brandon? Drowsy, yes. What else? How about your mood? How do you think about your mood when you wake up after oversleeping?
Upset.
Upset, actually sad, depressed. You don't want to talk to anybody because you overdone it. You overcharge your battery, and this is not good either. So to be an Orthodox is you always have to, yes, Ms. Mareska, you wanted to say something? Yeah. So to be an Orthodox is to be always in the center. You don't underdo or you overdo. When something takes over something else, something bad is going to happen to us because God created us in this way. God is very smart. You cannot outsmart God. He knows our machine. He said you need to have 8 hours of sleep, 16 hours of wakefulness. You need to have enough food, but not too much, but not too little either. And you need to eat healthy stuff. I'm going to tell you, sometimes we like sweets. I used to, not anymore. But when I was little, I loved candies. Now I can't take it. But candies, chocolate and stuff, yummy. But what happens when you overeat candy? I'll tell you what happens. I know you all know. You all know. You overeat candies, what happens? You lose your appetite for the good thing, for food. It shuts down your appetite, and you cannot eat meat, which you need, or protein, or vitamins, or fruits and vegetables. So you overdo it in one thing because you like it too much, then you're always going to end up losing, because our body, our machine, is meant to function in a certain way. You overdo it, what happens? A breakdown. A breakdown. To be an Orthodox, you always have to stay in the middle. In the middle. So you're functioning well. I'll tell you, for all the older kids of us and the older people, when you are fought with temptations, or this is actually the spiritual side of it, when you're fought with temptations and with struggles that seems very heavy, the first question you should ask yourself: am I sleeping enough? I am eating enough? Am I refreshing enough? Sometimes people overdo it with work, and that's also wrong. You work too hard, and you work over what's needed, and this you need a guidance. You need somebody to tell you, this is wrong. You're going in the wrong direction. We don't need to do that. We don't need to overdo work. We don't need to overdo entertainment. We don't need to overdo a wakefulness, or sleeping, or eating. We don't need to overdo or underdo anything, because at the end we will lose. We will lose. Jesus said it in a verse, and I want you to remember that verse. Life is more important than food, and the body, our bodies, are more important than clothing. Like, don't be focused too much. People sometimes, unfortunately, when they grow old, they get too much obsessed with money. Is money a goal, or it's a mean? It's a way to maintain your life, to buy food. Is money a goal? Is money something we should live for? Is money a thing to live for? It's not a goal at all. It is a way. I get money so I can actually get more food, I can get drink, I can get to pay the rent of my house, have a roof over my head, to have enough clothing. But it's not a goal. If I have enough of money, I should be thankful. I don't live for money. Is entertainment a goal to live for? I'm living to watch YouTube. I'm living to play station. I'm living to do that. That's all I'm thinking about. Is that good? Absolutely not. But what is it? It's a mean to refresh me, so I can take some time and I kind of relax a little bit. If it is my entertainment causing me not to relax, I think it's evil. If I'm not be able to because I'm working very hard on my lessons, and I cannot relax while I'm actually answering questions. It's stressful, Abuna. That's why we have to have some break time. If my break time causes to be more anxious, is that good? Absolutely. Then I'm going to burn myself. I'm going to go from anxiety to more anxiety to more anxiety, and my life will be like this. Somebody's about to die. I'm dying. And this is what happens to many people, and they get depressed and they get anxious. So, to be an Orthodox, to really live the life of Orthodoxy, is a life of balance. You overdo anything. You don't overdo anything. Never think about it. And examine your lives today and say that Friday is the day, good day, end of the week. Think about it. And maybe you should confess about abusing your body, abusing your eyes, abusing my own members of the body, abusing my stomach. And the stomach is looking at me. If the stomach has a tongue, says, enough, enough. I have enough. Don't overdo it with me. You're abusing your ears. You're listening too much. You're abusing your body by not sleeping enough, or by oversleeping. So this is what it means to be an Orthodox, to balance everything, keep everything in check, and say, that's what I need, I'm not going to overdo it. No matter what. I'm not going to live for anything. My body is more important than anything else. My life is more important than anything else. Anything else is to serve this human being that God created in His image. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit.